So we have the my premium Granblue deck profile that I've been testing a lot with. There's still changes I kind of want to make to this, but I feel like for now I think this is probably the better way to play it, at least for me. There's that Sylvan Horn Beast that came out in like set two or whatever that I've heard funny interactions about, and I kind of want to try that. But I this is the build that I've been playing for a while, and I love it a lot. So you want a V starter. Captain Nightkid's the best one because he's got like the best art. I mean, you can see a little mimic in the background. Uh, but yeah, it draws you a card. It gets you a quick shield if you go second. That's two cards. That's pretty free. Uh, not a whole lot to say there. That's why we run him as the starting Vanguard. Grade threes, I run a really heavy grade three count. So the star of the show is the ghosty leader Beatrice. Now Beatrice right here has a really good effect. So on place, and this is pretty much a user for on place, you can Soul Blast one and bring back anything. That's not restricted to your turn. So you could bring stuff back during your opponent's turn with G cards. Uh, Cannoneer plays are pretty gross. Or not that everything else in the format isn't super gross, so I guess it doesn't matter. But yeah, she also gives your ghosties 5k shield and 5k power. The shield definitely comes up a lot. And then her last skill of bringing something back when something dies for a counterblast. It doesn't come up, but I do run the pieces just in case I ever need to go off that on a bad bounty turn. So this is the main Vanguard. We love Beatrice. Beatrice is great. We play 4 copies of Dragon Undead Skull Dragon. This card is uh, insanely good. You can't call it normally, but it gets 2k for every card in your drop zone, and then it kills itself when it's done swinging. This card is so good. Ever since this card got put in Granblue, it's been a menace in premium, at least for in my opinion. Like it's been such a game shifter that I haven't really considered. I know you probably could cut down on it, but I've just loved it for as long as I've had it. And then we have 3 tech spots here. We have the really funny tech of Lord of the Seven Seas Night Mist. We have, I guess this isn't a tech spot. This is a pretty important card. It's Mighty Rogue Nightstorm, and then we have Night Rose. So these two are pretty essential. This card is just really funny. Has a very funny interaction with the deck. So I'll start with her first. When she swings, she can counterblast one and bring up to 2 cards back from the drop zone, but one has to be a front row, one has to be a back row. And then if your opponent's grade 3 or greater, she gets 10k. And then whenever my other rear guard swings, it gets 5k and it has to die at the end of battle. Um, she's a very good bad bounty target because while this is a very funny thing that you can do, she just pushes a decent bit harder, and that's what I like, and that's what I like having her for. Night Rogue or Night Storm is your attack extender. Basically, he's going to swing and at the end of the battle counterblast one and bring something back from your graveyard. He's really good. You should never be cutting this card, at least in my opinion. It's insane. And then Night Mist, Lord of the Seven Seas. So the funny thing you do with him is on a bad bounty turn, if you are at 4 damage, uh, you can ride him and then go into bad bounty and then ride something over him, preferably Night Rose, and then his break ride effect will trigger, giving the plus 10k and the bringing 2 things back. It's gross when it pops off, but it doesn't come up as often as I'd like it to, because again, I think it's really funny. The way I have this deck kind of set up, as you can probably guess from all running all these extra grade threes, is I kind of want to be able to pull off any sort of game plan during my second stride turn, right? Because your first stride turn is normally like King Obada. Like that's just how it goes. You want to set up your graveyard, but after that, like there's just so much freedom in this grade three lineup that I have that like you could go for like a Megiddo, you could go for Bad Bounty. You can go for so many different things, and that's why this is probably one of my favorite decks in the premium format. Uh, for the grade 2s, I'm running 3 copies of Columbard. Now, Columbard is so good, but it's also so bad, right? So you can counterblast 1 on place to call or to search for anything in your deck, put in the grave, and then call back anything from your graveyard. Now, that's a really good effect, but it is only insanely good the first time you see it. The first time you see it, it's really good. After that, it's just like kind of like, yeah, I mean, sure. But Beatrice kind of does it for a Soul Blast, and I'd prefer her to do it for a Soul Blast and a Counter Blast. So it is a good 3 of. I haven't really thought about running 4. You technically could, but again, I just haven't seen the point to it. The card that I do see the point to 4 of is Greed Shade. We love to be greedy. So Greed Shade, if you have 5 or more cards in drop, gets +5. And then if on place you can discard a card, mill 2, and then add 1 from your graveyard back to hand. Filtering your drop zone is insanely good. You want to, you can use a heal guard early on, and then you can call him back and get back that heal guard to use as a G guard later. It's free. Well, it's not free, but it's just really good. And my last 3 spots are one of Tech's. So Stormride Ghost Ship. This card's insanely good. It's like a mini Skull Dragon, but it draws you a card, and that's kind of the importance of it. Uh, Skeleton Cannoneer. This card is just really good. It's for the Denial Griffin plays on your opponent's turn. And Jesse the Ghosty. So Jesse the Ghosty is in here. You could play something different, absolutely. Uh, in the off chance that I have to bad bounty Beatrice into Beatrice, that's why I have the Ghosty card, because I do kind of just want to. I don't want to get screwed over by not having it if I desperately need it. It also gives counter charge at the end of a battle that it swings, so it's like, hey, free advantage is free advantage, or resources, whatever you would prefer to call it. Our grade 2 lineup is 11. I believe I run like an 11-11 split. It's really weird. Uh, our grade 1s, the only one we play at 4 of is Tommy the Ghosty. Tommy the Ghosty lets you search for grade 3s off the top 5. Not a lot of people play him at 4 or at all, actually. But I really like him because I play a lot of grade 3s, and if I'm on Beatrice, he's a 15k shield, and that's just chef's kiss right there, right? It's really good. So he is our generic grade 1. The rest of them, Sea Strolling Banshee. Oh my goodness. On ride, I get to mill any card from my deck. That that is really good. But her rear guard effect isn't great. Her rear guard effect is just at the end of the battle, she boosts, you can mill 2, and if there's a trigger, you draw a card and kill her. It helps fill up your drop zone quicker, which I think is really good, especially with Bartholomew that just came out. But she's not super great otherwise, but I think that, she's my next best ride, so I may as well run 2 copies of her. Also at 2 copies is Negrobolt. Now, Negrobolt will let you bring back anything from your drop zone for the cost of discarding it card and putting it from your drop zone to the bottom of the deck. Really good. It's a 10k shield in most situations, and if you get enough of your pieces out before you Obida, you can Obida mill this and then set up for your bad bounty turn or your Bartholomew turn. That's the importance of this card right here. We play 2 of Dolph the Ghosty. He's a perfect guard. Not a lot to say. Dolph's just really solid as a card in general. And then 1 Damien the Ghosty. If this doesn't remind you of Sobble from Pokemon, like, come on, man. He's such a cutie pie. He's part of the little chain where with Beatrice, where you can the combo is something really. I'll show it to you really quick. It shouldn't come up, but if it does, you have it, right? So if you're on, move you guys out of the way real quick. If you're on Beatrice, right, you have a Skull Dragon. You swing with the Skull Dragon. Skull Dragon kills itself. Beatrice's skill, you counterblast 1. You can call back a Ghosty. Call back Jesse. Jesse swings. End of the battle, he'll kill himself from his own ability. You can, if you haven't countercharged with him yet, you can countercharge 1. Beatrice's skill again, Counterblast 1, bring back a Ghosty, bring back this little guy, swing again, he gets the extra 5-2 off of her, and then you can also kill him to countercharge. Uh, we have a grade 0 Ghosty too, we just haven't gotten to triggers yet, so I haven't shown it, but that's the only reason we really play him. I mean, on Ride, he mills a Ghosty from deck, which could mill your Beatrices, because you do want to see one in your grave, but it's not a great card per se. I just really like to run that little line. I think it's a fun interaction. Our last card in the main deck is Grenache, the old Grenache. This card is insane. It gets you countercharge every turn if you keep calling him out of drop zone. It's good. You burn through counterblast so fast in this deck that like you just kind of gotta run him. Triggers. This shouldn't exist in the format, but that's fine. 1 over trigger. 4 of Chad. Chad the Ghosty. You can't not play a name like Chad the Ghosty. So Chad not only is a Ghosty, so he'll get the 5k shield, but he's also a stride fodder. So you can discard him and go into one of your grade 4s. It's so good. That's so good. Especially with the naming choice. We have 4 copies of, I think this is a Wild Seas Banshee. She's another effect trigger. She does her thing. You can put her in Soul, draw a card when your Vanguard attacks, give it 10k. Soul is kind of important in this deck, so we do want this, and it's a 10k trigger. 10k triggers are super important because we want to shut down our opponents on defensives if we can. The one random trigger is the Rough Seas Banshee, the original. She's really good early game because if you hit her, you just get to filter a card. You can tuck her in Soul, draw a card. It's like scrying in Magic, where it's like, I mean, is it free? Yeah, I'll scry real quick. It's all good. I don't care about that. You don't need to give me more reasonings than that. I'll scry one any day of the week, bro. Our last not heal triggers. I play 1 draw PG and I want to play 1 Sentinel crit. I could play 2 Sentinel crit, but I've been having really decent luck with just the one of it, and then sometimes I do need the draw, so it's like I'll take it. The format is kind of a little aggressive, so if you defensively draw, like you can draw into something really good that'll either help you survive the turn or set up for next turn. 4 heal guards. You could play one of the grade 1 or the grade 0 Ghosty. That's a heal trigger. That's a 25k shield and it's cute. But heal guardians are broken. I don't know how else to put that. I've never had a situation where I've preferred that specific heal trigger over these, so I'm gonna stick on these until they print something better or give me more of a reason to not play them. Our G zone, we have 2 nation cards. We have Megiddo and we have Ballerina. Ballerina never comes up, but this card is kind of, in case it does come up, it is really good. You can basically discard a card when your opponent guards and just be like, hey, kill that. Give me another guard. It's I had it for like 1 kill turn where I just had a huge hand and I just made them rip their whole hand on like my rearguard swings, but like he really doesn't come up that often. He's just kind of there because we don't have a spot to put him. Megiddo is one of our win conditions. So Megiddo says you can counterblast 2, call back 5 units from your hand or drop, and then they can switch positions after every battle. So you call back 4 Skull Dragons and a Night Storm, and you just go to town. It's so good. Before I get into the other kind of like win conditions of the deck, I guess I should go into probably the biggest boy in the deck, which is Big Obida. So Big Obida lets you counterblast 1 and flip a G unit to mill up to 5. So you can play one-ofs of all your tech pieces, combo pieces, and just put them in the bin. And then for every 2 face up in your G zone, you bring, or for every 1 face up in the G zone, you bring 2 back, and they get 5k. It's just to grab combo pieces. You always first stride into this. I've never had a situation where I've had everything set up to the point where I couldn't first stride into this. Uh, I'm sure that's what the grade 1 Sylvanhorn is good for, but I feel like this is just a lot safer of a route to go for, so that's what I go for. One Generation Break 8. Striding into this can still kill somebody. It's as simple as that. We have 2 copies of Bad Bounty. So Bad Bounty is the one I was telling you about earlier. He lets you re-ride from your drop zone. At the cost of Counterblast 1, discard 3, and you put him back in your G zone. Uh, yeah, he makes the Night Rose turn very scary, or the break ride into Night Storm turn extremely scary. So he is absolutely one of our big win cons. This guy, he's kind of like Ball in Arena where he doesn't come up as much, but he has come up one time and it was just really, really powerful. I think the only reason my opponent survived was because of the overtrigger, which I mean, we all hate the overtrigger. 2 copies of Bartholomew. I love Bartholomew, right? So this guy, if you have 30 or more cards in your drop, uh, your opponent has to block with 3 cards for the entire turn. And with how hard Granblue can like have extra attacks, that's just insane. Also mill themselves too. And then on swing, you can counterblast 1 and bring back 3 different named units, and they get 5 till end of turn. It's just so free, man. I don't know how else to tell you that. Like, this card is insanely good. Um, that is it for our G units specifically. The G guards, I run 7, which, not a lot of people are a fan of, but like, I think it's just kind of, we're in this weird format where you kind of want different G guards versus wanting the same one over and over again. Um, Even with the new ones. I mean, some clans, like I think Tachi plays pretty much the same one all the time, but like you have so many different options. So I play uh, Deep Corpse Dragon. Corpse Dragon on guard mills 2 and then gets 5k shield. It's pretty alright. You could play the uh, drop 1 from hand, draw 1 G guard over this. I just love his art so much that I haven't cut him, and he's not done me dirty yet. Keyword. 1 copy of Negro Mode. It's a what 30k shield, 25k shield. It's pretty good. It gets shield for every like 5 cards in your drop, or until it hits 15. So it's insanely good. We have the new G guard. This is Arena. She can counterblast 1, and then for every 10 cards in your drop, the attacking unit loses a crit. She doesn't come up in a lot of cases, but like there was one case where she did like a heck of a lot, and I think that's enough to warrant at least 1 spot for her. 4 copies, or not 4, 2 copies of Negra Lily. Negra Lily is really good. He sets up your Cannoneer play. On your opponent's turn, which, Denial Griffin's always good. For a counterblast of 1, you kill one of your rear guards and bring one of your ghosties back, and then this gets 10k shield. Yeah, not a lot to say about that. It's just a really solid card, and it's one of the things that makes this deck unkillable sometimes. And then this is 2 copies of Negra Nora. You can Soul Blast 1 and flip a G unit to call 2 things with different grades from your drop to the guard circle. It's free shield value. If you grab any of the ghosties, like if you grab like a Tommy the Ghosty and this, that's like an extra 35 shield to her 15, so that's 63. That guards for as much as an overtrigger. You could also just guard with the overtrigger if you hard drew it, sometimes that happens. Yeah, it also grabs you perfect guards, so you can perfect guard during your opponent's turn from drop. Probably one of the best G guards. Also, look at him. Look at him. Isn't he precious? Look at him. He's got a little headband. I love it. It looks like he has a little banana, but I think it's a little dagger. Yeah. This is a really fun deck, at least for me personally. I've been playing this for too long. um, as soon as V started, I got into Granblue Premium, and I have not looked back since, because this deck is just insanely fun. Uh, that's all I have to say on that topic. Always go for your protect ones, not your protect twos? Question mark. There's not a whole lot to say about this. It feels like the deck really does just kind of play itself. Uh, so yeah, I appreciate you guys checking it out, and let me know in the comments if there's anything else you want to see. I don't have a lot of different premium decks. I only have a couple, but I do have an Aquaforce deck coming out hopefully sometime soon. I just gotta sit down and profile it. But yeah, guys, I will catch you later. Bye.